We count on the police to be there for us when we need them. But who helps cops when they're in trouble? I'm William Shatner. Tonight, true stories of courage and compassion on Rescue 911. We begin just before noon on May 15th in Seattle, Washington. On this Monday, dozens of people, civilian heroes, would work together with the police to help a man they didn't know.
Seattle Police and Fire 42.
Yeah, we need a police car.
Police and Fire 52.
Gunshots at Leary Way.
Fire emergency operator 93.
Yes, there's a policeman down on 42nd and Leary.
Fire operator 91.
Yeah, my name's Pat Gowan. A policeman's been shot.
Did you see who shot him? Okay, stay on the line.
You did hear shots, though, is that right?
Help the officer transferring in now.
Sir.
Medic 116.
Dual response, officer shot.
Radio.
Radio, I have a help the officer call. Stay on the line, sir. The fire department and the police are responding. We heard gunshots. Okay. There is a cop down.
When I hear an officer shot, it makes me really realize how dangerous this job is. All I had to rely on was these citizens that stopped to explain what happened.
Businessman Jack Fisher was driving by at the time.
I was returning from the bank on my work, and I saw that an officer had a car off the side of the road giving him a ticket.
For Officer Mark Sigfrinius, it was just a routine traffic stop.
I heard the sound of a shot, and the officer immediately dropped. The getaway car went around me almost immediately, so I ran back to see how I could help the officer. I remember very vividly the feeling of seeing a man laying on the ground, spread eagle, with his pistol laying beside him. My heart went out to him, and I tried to cradle him a little bit and see if there was any way I could help him.
Across the street, Jerry Newell was also on his way back to work.
I came to the intersection, and the next thing I know, the officer's shooting a revolver into a car, and it's kind of on a mission to leave the scene of the accident. It scared the daylights out of me. To look, and then all of a sudden somebody's shooting a police officer. It's something you just don't realize that can happen.
Deliveryman Glenn Smith took off after the suspects.
The car was getting away and sped around the corner. My first reaction was to see if I couldn't intercept him and put him out of commission. I was very angry. I just wanted to stop that vehicle any way I could. And we can't have this carload of clowns shooting up our officers. It's no way.
It ran through my mind, are this guy's going to come back around the corner and shoot my ass? It was a natural reaction to go to a radio and call for help.
Is there an officer that needs assistance?
After I heard the citizens say that an officer needed assistance, I did turn on my emergency light and siren and started heading that way right away. When the citizen is talking on the radio, you know there's a problem because they shouldn't be having that radio.
Someone flagged down a passing fire truck. Lieutenant Ray Risden was on board.
The officer told us, just do whatever you have to do. We removed his shirt and cut his T-shirt up, and that was at that time you could see a bullet hole in the right chest, about a 1/4 inch diameter, and he started complaining of shortness of breath and being a little bit cold.
The first police officer to arrive, Roger Lutz, had known Sigfrinius for more than 20 years.
I saw that Officer Sigfrinius was being taken care of, so I was trying to get information out onto radio that we did have an officer down who had been shot and to approach his car with extreme caution. It kind of hits close to home. It just kind of hits you right in the head. Man, what's going on here? A delivery truck man came back and told me that he had followed the suspect car, and he says they had gotten out of the car only a few blocks away. The suspects were now on foot.
And approach the vehicle with caution. There have been shots fired. An officer has been shot.
EMTs got to the scene within 4 minutes. Soon after, Patrol Officer Ron Haviland arrived.
I was emotionally sick to my stomach, realizing that it was an officer that I knew and had worked around. I think you actually try to slow down before you rush into something, trying to picture what got this officer there to begin with, and to make sure that you don't fall into the same trap, but yet you try to get him as much help as possible, as soon as possible.
We had one firefighter stabilizing his head, and we log rolled him to the side looking for an exit wound at his back. At that time is when he informed us that he didn't have any sensation in his legs or from his chest down. We put a collar on him, backboarded him. One of the firefighters applied a patch to the wound site to prevent any air from entering. We continued to monitor his vitals. He started complaining that the pain was increasing and getting worse. We kind of had the suspicion that we might have had something to the spinal cord and possible liver damage.
Callers and witnesses helped lead the police to the car driven by the man who shot motorcycle cop Mark Sigfrinius. But by the time the first officer got there, the car was empty. And the 3 people who had been in it had already disappeared.
We have the suspect's vehicle with bullet holes in it. 3rd Northwest, Northwest 44. It looks unoccupied at this time.
As I turned the corner, there was the car. The back window was partially blown out. It was just incredible, the amount of citizens that started coming forward. Yeah, I saw them. They were running northbound. I've never seen people run that fast, they said.
I was more than happy to help them. I think every citizen should feel that way. If you see someone doing something wrong, and you can help an officer out, I think you should do it. I think that's part of your duty.
Do you have a dog unit available?
Traffic cop Richard O'Neill put the information out over the radio and called for a canine unit. Officer Mike Gleason and his partner Chase responded.
There's a lot of adrenaline pumping because you want to get whoever did the shooting. I think it's a little bit different breed of criminal that'll shoot a policeman.
Gleason took Chase directly to the abandoned car to get a scent.
It was a real difficult police dog application. It's the middle of the day. It was in excess of 70 degrees out, bright sunshine. Not the best conditions to try and hunt someone down with a police dog, especially track them down.
Where'd he go? Come on, bud. Chase.
We managed to get a track going or a trail going in a northwest direction.
3 Cuban males that jumped out of that car.
In an incident like this, you want to keep the suspects contained. You want to keep them in the neighborhood, in the area. You don't want them stealing a car or hopping on a bus or getting out of the area. You want to keep them in as close an area as you can.
Tom 56 with more info from a citizen.
An 8-square block area was cordoned off, and containment officers were stationed around the perimeter.
Tom 52. We have a citizen that lives at 1 in Northwest 47. Saw them running past her house, taking off their shirt. 3 black males, 20s to 30s.
Okay, we believe suspects 3
My
males,
portable
20s to
radio
30s.
was just constantly busy. You'd hear officers report talking to citizens that they had seen these people. This was a pretty good help because it confirmed your belief that you were going in the right direction. We were getting closer up into the area where the officers were reporting that citizens had seen these guys. And all of a sudden I could see Chase's body language change. He began winning the suspects.
Moving in the area, you want it roving or on a quadrant? That last unit was...
Had a lot of officers out on foot, a lot of citizens out there, but criminals, when they're being chased, put off a little bit different scent. Experienced police dogs like Chase be able to pick it out. pretty certain that this time that we were real close to him.
I'm talking to this guy down here. Have you already talked to this person right down here? Okay, you said he saw 2 black males up there less than 5 minutes ago in the bushes up there. Where? K911, yeah, boss. K97, come up here with me. We're coming into a wooded area.
K911.
Independent confirmation. Trails heading northeast.
I felt that we had maybe overshot him in the brush where we'd come through. So I took chase and we worked our way back down through the brush there. At this time, Wilson picked up a shotgun from one of the containment officers. I knew immediately the chase had made a find. They'd shot a policeman. I'm sure they wouldn't hesitate to shoot the dog. And so I'd given him the attack command, and I ran directly towards where Chase was.
I'm heading up to 222's location, and we'll give you a roll call there if we get things organized.
Okay, receive.
K9 location. Just down the hill from First Northwest and Northwest Market.
Just down the hill from First Northwest and Northwest Market.
683, if there's no other agent closer, I'll head up there.
Okay, 683 will respond.
31 minutes after Officer Mark Sigfrinius was shot, 3 suspects were arrested. One pleaded not guilty to the charge of attempted murder and is awaiting trial. The other 2 have not been charged.
Who is the supervisor on the scene? Unit standby. Are all 3 suspects in custody? Get down. All 3 suspects are in custody.
I don't think that Chase has ever made a more important arrest or a more important capture than this one here. Those are the ones you don't want to get away.
There was a doctor standing there, and I asked him, "What's wrong with me?" And he says, "Well, when you were shot, the bullet, ended up in your spine, and you're paralyzed from the waist down." And I said, "Oh, good." I said, "What's the chances of me walking again?" He said, "Well, medically speaking, not much of a chance at all."
4 months later, Mark is in physical therapy. The bullet is still in his spine. His wife, Priscilla, is also learning to cope.
You live with a police officer for so many years, you expect that something might happen. But when I stop and think that this is the man that I'm married to, I love, he's always been real considerate and did things for me. He was the one that would get up and get the glass of water. Well, now it's my turn to get up and get it. So we're taking turns.
There was many times when I felt like giving up. I felt that the pain was too great, and it would have been a lot easier to die. Every day gets better, and you just try to make it a challenge, and it is a challenge, no doubt about it. It wasn't meant to happen that I just sit home and vegetate, and say, woe is me for the rest of my life. I couldn't do that. I have to find something purposeful to contribute to society, I guess. Sounds like a very lofty, noble thing, but it isn't. I want to do something that helps people.
Volunteers have helped reconstruct Mark and Priscilla's house to make it totally accessible by wheelchair.
There has been a lot of people who have sent donations, which has helped. We wouldn't be able to do it if we hadn't had the donations, and it bothers me that there are other handicapped people out there. I don't know how they do it. As far as the future, that's just something we're going to have to see what happens when we get there.
The driving force behind the remodeling is a family friend, Earl Kruger.
I think this is my way of thanking Mark and the rest of the police, the firemen, whoever, for the job they do, and to show them that the rest of us civilian folk really do care.
As far as the citizen input into the Mark Sigfrinius shooting, I give them a 10 on a scale of 10. The citizens of Seattle, they were right there, not only from the time Mark was shot, but all the way through his rehabilitation in the hospital and going home. But they stayed there. and they says, this is the kind of car that it was. This is what they looked like. This is where they went. We even had that one man follow them and come back and tell us this is where they left the car. It kind of gives me, as a Seattle police officer, a good feeling.
When I was a small child, I always wanted to become a police officer. It was just something that I always wanted to do, and I did. Probably my favorite part was riding motorcycles. I couldn't believe that they would actually pay me to ride a bike, and I like that. You want to walk, you want to get up, you want to do the things you used to do, and it doesn't work. And you just have to make it a challenge that, I'm going to do as many things as I can. I've already been fishing, I'm going to go flying. I'm going to do a lot of the stuff I would do when I was walking. It just have to be rolling rather than walking. I'm going to ride a motorcycle again. It might have to be a three-wheeler, but I'm going to do it. Nothing's going to stop me.